Hi, Arlene.
Morning.
Arlene.
How we doing?
Very good.
Good,
How are you doing? Is Patty joining us?
Patty is on vacation this week with her niece came in.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember.
This is one of my favorite sections.
Why is that?
Page 273 is one of my go-to pages. It's clear. It's honestly the and excuse me because I'm on the side of the road because I'm traveling right now. All good. And because 273, honestly, if you just go there,
Yep.
there was this like poster that we would have always printed out in the office that showed this, and it was like a vision. Even as a brand new agent, I remember it would sit there in my training room to the right of me, and I would look at it and be like, okay, I could get to level 4 by 2 years, and I'm eventually going to be at 7. But I think like as a new agent, and I was in my 20s, so anything was like possible, it was so inspiring to see, oh, there's actually like a path for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have that model.
Yeah, so for me, it was like, oh, when do I get to level 2? When do I have to hire somebody? So as a new agent in the beginning, I already thought, I got to hire somebody at some point soon. When is it? And I have it written down right here, 25 to 30 transactions. Right? So I just love that it was a visual. And if we look at the 7th level, I remember being younger going like, well, what other businesses would I have? Like, isn't this enough? It's a lot to manage. And now, gosh, I keep thinking of more and more businesses.
But easier said than done.
Yes, 100%. I would say to that is, you really shouldn't be expanding into other businesses.
Good morning, Paula.
Good morning, Paula. You really shouldn't be expanding into other businesses.
No.
Yes, it's counterintuitive to the one thing.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Master one and then move on and start to add. And I believe when you master one, and if it's the real estate business.
Όχι ανοιχτό, είναι στο garage doors αυτά. Το ίδιο. Ναι.
Paula, you have to mute.
I muted.
But if you master the real estate, I mean, we all know that so many different ancillary businesses can come from doing a really great job at the real estate business. So,
well, I mean, I always say money should fund your life or fund your other businesses. So first you have to have the foundation and master that so it's a predictable business, and then you can invest in other things or start another business, but you have to set that foundation first. Otherwise it all collapses.
That's right. And you have to do the work first. Like, so it even says you have to do the work. You have to actually work for the money. So like boots on the ground, feel it, understand the business so that you know what pieces you need so that you can eventually get to the point where people are working for you, and now the business is working for you and you are receiving money.
Correct. So, but it comes with mastery. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So page 263, we went from the foundation of the triangle, which is think. And we've said in the beginning, think, it matches up to the economic model. We do the thinking there. How much money do we want to make? What does it look like? The second one is earn.
Right.
And with earn, that's where we do the work. That's the lead generation. That's the lead generation model and everything that comes with it, and the funnel and the cultivating and the connecting to the closing. And then we do the net. And net is now you have your systems and your people are working for you, with you, and you have a budget and you've put that in place and you've stuck to it. And what goes out, what comes in, we have a profit margin and we stick to our model. And then receive is when now we are able to leverage through people and systems.
Right. So the net is when you finally reach a predictable business.
That's right. It's a great way to put it. Predictable business. And I mean, I'm sure it does. Paula?
I'm here.
Okay, were you going to say something?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. And then page 264, the difference between active and passive income. You know, that's something that I think over time we start to realize what kinds of passive income we can create for ourselves. Nobody is going to build generational wealth through the active income.
Correct.
We just not going to consistently be able to physically work and earn year after year after year those millions in order to create financial wealth.
So
what are some? Go ahead,
I was taught vertical business and horizontal business. So vertical business is, you know, if you have a regular job, you're getting promoted, you get paid more and more. Or if you're a realtor, you're doing more and more transactions and you're going vertically up. Horizontal business is when you have different streams of income that are working for you, whether or not you're working or not. So that's the passive income.
So what are some types of passive income that we have? Opportunity.
Real estate, obviously.
Investments.
Like owning real estate, right?
Owning real estate, having rentals. So that's a passive form of income.
And our downline.
That's right. Profit share is another bucket of passive income. What'd you say, Arlene?
Title and insurance.
Title and insurance.
Title and
Insurance through the Carnegie.
Yep.
Yep. Ancillary companies. I see some people create a property management company because of the number of properties they're holding or the business that they're servicing. It calls for that business, so why not own it? Cleaning companies, I see agents own cleaning companies, painting companies, remodeling companies, because they're flipping houses, and why not put their crew to work and make a percentage of the profit? You know, these are all opportunities for passive income. Yeah, we see people own other businesses like restaurants or boutiques and stuff. And I would say, don't do it unless it's a passion of yours. And you want to make sure, just like in the MREA, and this book is business. So you can apply these models to any business that you own, any person that you're talking to consult with them to help them understand the models of business. But even with the restaurant, I always said, because I loved it. I loved the business. I would never own a restaurant unless I found a me. I would need to find a 20-something-year-old me who wanted to own a piece of that restaurant and wanted to run it like it was her own. Otherwise, I would be married to it. So I would have to find my who.
Otherwise, it's another form of active income. So you've just
That's right.
More work. It's not passive income.
You know, Gene Rivers put something in perspective for me once. And it was, you know what it was? It was owning investment properties. If you are still running out there to collect the rent and deal with the maintenance of the building, you know, maybe especially when you start and you only have a few going on, you have an active earning there. It's not totally passive.
True.
But the passive side of it is that equity that you're increasing in that asset that you didn't have to work for. So it's like kind of doing both.
Right. And it's not as active.
Yeah. And so just the awareness of that is pretty cool. On page 266, this is working on the business instead of in the business, right? Yep. So talk to me about that. What do you ladies experience with that? Because we all struggle with that.
Well, it's taking time out to work on your business, not the day to day. So it's the setting of the marketing plan. It's meeting with your team. It's, creating your goals. It's the how to. How am I going to do this? Not the doing of it. Not meeting
Yeah.
with buyers and sellers. And I find that very few agents really take the time to work on their business. It's, lead generation, great. Doing the business, great. Putting out the fires, going to the closings, great. But that's how you have an unpredictable business, because you're not setting the course and resetting the course, whether it's weekly or monthly, minimally weekly and monthly, not yearly.
And
That's not.
especially, sorry, were you finished, Orly?
Yes.
Okay. Especially like in the beginning, I think that a lot of agents are running with clients, to get business, and that's what you need to do. But at the same time, sometimes you take a little bit of a step back to work on your business, to plan, to do the video, to organize your team, to put an admin in place, all those things that you think you don't have time for, but you need to have time for.
Or make time for. But I think a lot of single agents are saying, what do you mean working on my business? Like, okay, let me have a meeting with myself. What am I meeting with myself about? And
Yes.
Right, Arlene, I'm looking at Arlene, and I think that's, it's like,
I can
hello,
agree.
Becky.
And it wasn't until I learned the principle of the brain dump and then putting all your things down and then organizing my success list or to-do list that it was very different for me. I was like, why do I have to meet with myself? It was always something that I didn't think applied to me. So I'm just learning it now.
But I love that, Arlene, and that's why, I'm calling on you, because I feel that a lot of agents struggle with, it's like I said to myself, what are we going to do today? So it's setting a course for yourself and really taking the time to look at your business at least on Monday mornings. Monday mornings was always my time to meet with myself and set the course for the week. What do I need to accomplish? How am I going to do that? Where am I going to time block it? And then as I grew a team, that became the team meeting, but I still meet with myself when I have to set the course for something.
The meeting before the meeting.
Yeah,
that's
basically,
good.
because as the team
Yes.
leader, you're setting the course for everyone, and then you're breaking it up into pieces in order to delegate and leverage.
I think a lot of, because I'm a single agent who's just starting a team, so I can kind of relate to that, because sometimes I think a single agent feels like they don't have time for that because they're not making money if they're not running with buyers, if they're not running with sellers. So they're not stopping to like analyze what they're spending money on and what they need to budget for and what their numbers are. So I get that, because I'm just starting to kind of make that a habit, if you will, to get used to doing that. So I get that.
That's awesome. But I think it starts from the basics of being learning based.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was growing in the business and I was learning based, it was about going to a seminar, a conference, a book club, what we're doing right now, making my notes. I always stuck to three implementable action items. That's it, because otherwise you do nothing, right? So it's having a meeting with myself about those three implementable great ideas I just heard, but if I'm not going to implement them, then it was a waste of my time. So it starts with really being learning based and taking what you learn here and saying, okay, let me take one idea from today, sit down with myself and just write down how I can implement that in my business. That's working on your business.
Can I ask a question? Because Cheryl, you said you're just starting a team, correct?
Correct.
So I think listening to Orly and Paula, it was a matter of you knew to do your systems and have them written. And I think for myself, I always thought, well, I have an Excel sheet and I just follow it. And I know I make sure that I put all my little check marks that I got it all done. But I realized in the past year, of listening to other people that I actually had to get that book in place in a physical spot so somebody else could repeat it. Never did I think about that before this year. It was like totally different. So are you doing that type of book and systems in place?
My administrative assistant is doing that. So she will stop at certain points in the day and start, filling it in and writing it. And, it's not something like you can just sit down and write and then implement. I'm finding that we have to, especially our administrative assistants, because each administrative assistant, and I feel that I found a really good one right now. So I'm allowing her to kind of create it the way she wants to work, what makes sense for her and how she does things procedurally.
Okay.
So,
However, to your point, Arlene, you're doing the right thing by you starting, because
right.
Cheryl is, underestimating herself. She had systems in place,
Right.
not as organized perhaps, because a lot of it is in our heads, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
as she trained her admin, then the admin is now putting it in writing. So that's what it's about. And I always give an admin 3 months to implement what is there and then tweak and then rewrite. But
Mhm.
right now, Arlene, you're at the point where you need to write it in a way that a 10-year-old coming into your business could follow the instructions. Seriously. No, I'm serious. The other day, my admin is putting hours together right now, redoing it. And it was all the job description. And I said to her, that's great. Now I want you to take each job description, click and describe it. So if you're on vacation and I hire a temp, they can walk in and know where to click and move and what software to go into and the login number and everything, down to that minutia.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Page 244 is the systems document, how to document a systems manual. So you could use that as a guide. There's 7 steps in just kind of writing down what you do. And to Orly's point is, nothing is too small inside those directions. Even to on the top right next to this, put the drop down and click on this.
And we even
Right.
printed out like the MLS input sheet for a listing. Because you cannot assume that they know anything. And the more you do
Right.
now, Arlene, if you broke up your business to maybe 1 task per week, when you hire your first assistant, oh boy, you're going to be so much ahead of the game in training them.
Yes.
So they're
They're
going to thank you for it, and your life will be easier.
And
Thank
if
you.
you get an amazing assistant, they can tweak it and make it so much better. Like a really good, that they see what is needed because they're working on it.
Right.
That's right. That's right. That's what you just heard from Orly and Cheryl, is that they've empowered those assistants to tweak and build and make it work for them and make it work for the team. But they both had an idea as to what it needed to look like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Arlene, if you
So-
are to hire an assistant, I really suggest giving it to KW for the first, I think it's first 3 or 5 sessions or something like that. Spend the money, because they will get them the base of what needs to be done. And I found that super helpful.
I'm sorry, who give it them to who?
Oh, like
So-
Reed could train your
Right.
assistant to learn command, to learn
Right.
Hot Loop or DocuSign. So you give it to
Right.
KW to train them, so it's off of your plate. Money well spent is what
You could do
Cheryl.
that? That's awesome.
Yes,
I had no idea that was available.
there you go.
Yeah.
That alone was worth this morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's your nugget.
Absolutely.
There's your nugget.
Makes things go
So
quicker.
I'm going to challenge you all, because I did this activity in Bold on Monday and I've been thinking about it all week. Is he asked us what would be that someday goal. And real quick, I was quick to say, $1 million passive. I don't want to have to work. I want $1 million a year passive. What does that look like? 84,000 a month coming in. And I said to myself, well, that's not too far off if I put all the buckets out. So now I want to challenge you to think about, what are you expecting from yourself in 5 or 10 years? in your passive income and put little circles. Figure it out. Put a number to an expectation, like profit share. What was I expecting from profit share? Well, if I could get my profit share to 20,000 a month, now I need 64. If I have 20 investment properties that are all bringing in 2,000 a month, well, there's 40,000 right there. Ancillary companies, let's say it's 10,000. Real estate sales team that I just refer. Maybe that's another 10,000 a month. So I was looking, I was like, oh, this is really attainable. And so I just want to encourage you all to to draw out, what is your passive income earning goal? What are the buckets you're going to get them from? And then if you even want to go a step further, put a little action item as to what could you do in the next 24 hours that could take you a step closer to making that a reality. But yeah, your passive income goal, the buckets that are going to get you there. Yeah, whiteboard. We need a whiteboarding brain dump night with wine, I think. I need two specific whiteboarding events for myself. But all right, so working on and working in, we do have to know what differentiates both, and we have to stay in both of those worlds inside of our business. If we're in one and not the other, it's going to show up. But there's 4 major issues of receiving $1 million, and it outlines it here on 268. 1, active versus passive income. We talked a bit about that, understanding that passive income is not truly passive. Your business will still require your involvement and attention, just in a different way. In the way of leadership and vision and capital. In the way of, putting yourself around the people that you need to go to the next level. The second one is the opportunity of the 7th level. As difficult as it is to transform your job into a business, exiting your job through conventional investing requires just as much mastery and can be just as tough. I mean, I have personally felt stuck at some points where, well, do I go and take this risk? Do I go and invest in this person? Am I going to bring on a buyer's agent right now? Because I don't know, are they going to take away from me? Or am I really going to add? Here's where I think I've come down to that. Am I going to really add value to these people? If I bring them into my team, will I be the leader for them? And sometimes I think it's us that puts the limiting belief on ourselves that we're not worthy to be that leader yet. The 3 is the 3, because we'll dive a little bit into them. 3 is the 3 key hires it takes to three hires, okay? A team leader's job is to RTCK. That's on page 279. RTCK, it's recruit, train, consult, and keep. You are to attract talent into your world. You are then to train them, whether it's you or you're hiring Reese to do it. You are to consult with them. That's the weekly meeting. That's the, hey, let's check in on your goals, hold them accountable. You are to keep them. That is, having mani-pedis in Orly's backyard. I mean, that is keeping them. That is culture.
Wine and cheese by my pool next week.
Yay?
Yes. Especially
That's how you do it.
Especially during COVID or working with buyers that are challenging today. So it's really, as I call it, feeling their pulse.
I can tell you that people will stay with you and will work for you and will be your loyal ride or die when you truly care for them and you truly tap into what is important to them. I personally have been feeding the homeless in Perth Amboy for 13 years. I remember I had a leader once that I really respected, and it got to the point where I really needed help with one feeding. So I actually asked this person, hey, would you mind helping me? It was meatballs. I needed meatballs. And the person that I thought was so giving and so said, nah, I don't do that. I don't give to those kind of organizations.
Wow.
And it took me back so much that I disconnected with that leader right there. They could never add value back into me because it was something that was so important to me. And they totally wrote it off. Even if he didn't care for it, he could have just said, you know what, here's $50 to get a tray of meatballs. Here's $100. I just want to sew into what you're doing because I see that you love it.
IKEA sells a whole bag of them.
But I just, so I just want to encourage you as leaders.
That was very small-minded, yeah.
Yeah, very small-minded. But I just want to encourage you as leaders, pay attention to those things. If it's important for somebody that works for you to be able to be at their kids' games and it's at 5 o'clock and you got them working till 5 o'clock, pay attention and say, you know what, Cheryl, why don't you leave at 4:30 today so that you can make it to Susie's game? And why don't you organize your schedule and come in a half hour early so you can make it to every game? That means something. So I just want to continue to encourage you to be a great leader as you are. So I think we can move off the active income, passive income, dollars per hour. We know about that. Move on to the opportunity, page 272, 273. As I said, this is my favorite page. It is like totally written all over. It is revisited many times. And it is the vision of how to get to the 7th level. Now, this is what we mean when we say, I want to be a 7th level agent. I want to get to the 7th level. 7th level is just pushing yourself out of the active business of the real estate sales team so that you are kind of overseeing it. You have somebody that you're checking in with and they're managing your business. Not everybody gets there. Literally, probably 1% of our industry gets there. That is not I can honestly, and I think Orly, Paula, wouldn't you say most people maybe get to level 4, 5?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's where we are. That's where we are, Paula and I. And it's tough to get to that next level because of so many, finding talent, training them, letting go, having all your systems in place. And believe me, it's something that I gasp at, just thinking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's it's everything is there except that seller specialist is us. And
right.
Do we want
to? Tough one because it's hard to find talent with enough ego to be successful, but not too much ego to want to do it on their own. So it's that fine balance.
But isn't it a question, Mary Beth? Does everybody want to get to the 7th level? You might want to be at the 4th level, right? You may not want to be at the 5th level. It's not like that's where everyone is attaining. That's not what everybody is focusing on. So,
great point.
Right? I'm happy at level 4, actually.
I always say, as long as I'm still enjoying what I'm doing, then I'm where I need to be. And I still love going on listing appointments. I just do. And it would be hard for me to let go because what fuels me is those connections with those clients. I no longer work with buyers and I miss that feeling of working with buyers, but 90% I don't miss it because I have more control of my schedule. I'm not a Pop-Tart. I can go on vacation and do a Zoom listing appointment, but I cannot do that with a buyer. So
even in 10 years, when everybody is supposed to retire and somebody are retiring now, I'm thinking I'm going to go with my cane and say, "Oh, this is a beautiful house."
or not, as Dr. Fred Gross says, everything has an expiration date.
If I give that
up,
up,
you're not even going to have a cane. Don't even speak that into existence.
Exactly.
No,
don't even put that in the universe. Exactly. Don't even put that in the universe. But everything in life has an expiration date. And I remember the last couple I sold a house to. I love them dearly. They're great VIPs. It took me 4 years, by the way, to sell them a house. I'll never forget them. However, I was so empowered when I knew I didn't have to work with buyers anymore. And I felt even more committed to my buyer's agents where, you know what, every lead is yours. Like, here, take it. So it really is a win-win.
It's not pick or choose. It's like
It's
every,
not cherry
single-
picking, right?
whether it's 2 million, 1 million, a buyer, my buyer's agents get those. I really love, just like you said, connecting with the people who are selling their homes, putting them in connection with other people we have cross country, Florida, Europe, wherever. And then if they're buying in this area, you know, we know their personality, and then tie them in with which buyer's agent would be best to work with them on your team.
Mhm.
Adrian, I want to hear from you. Where are you in your business right now?
Ariane,
I
Oh,
am
right.
resetting and restarting.
What does that mean?
Just had some personal stuff going on in my life, 2020, and I'm going through transition. So I'm just jumping 2 feet back in to real estate.
So what's the first thing we're resetting?
I'm sorry?
What is the first thing that you're focused on to reset?
Why, Orly, my mindset.
I love it.
great answer.
She got
Ariane.
answer that one.
Great answer. And this is a great place to start, by the way, just thinking big, having the tools and following the systems. So good for you.
Yeah. And if you ever need anything, we're all here for you.
Thank you.
Ariane, this is Ariane's time. And Arlene's time.
That's right,
So,
Arlene.
back to the picture though, I will say the most profitable spot is level 2, level 3, okay? As a single agent with administrative assistants doing all the things that are not in your top 20%, that is the most profitable spot for an agent to be. There's a girl, one of our top agents in our company has 6 assistants. She's out of California. I believe her name is Christina, Arlene, right? And she did about 2 million in
Amazing.
GCI. Yeah.
Yep.
So she sat with Gary. Gary was interviewing her, and she runs all of her business. She's a luxury agent, and she's got 6 assistants. That's the business that she enjoys. Now, in 5 years, maybe she hasn't, to Orly, to your point, maybe the right talent hasn't shown up in her life. Maybe she's not ready to make room for that talent. Or maybe that talent, maybe she hasn't looked for the talent in so many places to cast the net super wide. As leaders and high D behaviors, we tend to go, I got it, I could do it. It's going to get done faster. If I just do it, I'll just do it. And then if we're working on the business, then we would have those moments of, yes, I can do it. I can do it faster. I do know how to do it better. And yet, do I want to be doing this forever? What is my vision? And that's when you say, I'm going to take somebody in, and what do they need to look like in order for me to cultivate them to a point where, hey, they're doing it 80% of the way I would have done it, and that is okay. So I can move on to other things.
Or sometimes you discover they do it better than you.
Yeah.
No, seriously. In my listing presentation, I tell, my sellers exactly what everybody does. And I specifically say, and they do what they do better than I could do it for you. And that is the truth. That is the absolute truth. But, you come to the point where you have to really be honest with yourself. What am I enjoying doing? And what do I not enjoy doing? And frankly, I don't enjoy buyers having my time anymore. I don't. So that's a choice.
Family and friends, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up my last few buyers, just because I have a couple of people that I've just been working with for a while, but everything now is just going to my buyer's agent. I do not enjoy working with buyers, quite frankly.
And
Yeah. They'll feel that. They will feel that.
Carol, we need
I
to
don't know
discuss. I don't think you're there yet, to be honest with you. I don't think your buyer's agent is good enough and has mastered the craft for you to take a chance on losing her, not closing, not doing what you have mastered. So
yeah,
I don't think you're there yet. It took me years to relinquish that once I really felt that they were better than I was.
on the other hand,
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Orly, with Cheryl, if you don't start at least like maybe you give that buyer to someone who can handle it, or you help Cheryl, your assistant with that buyer, but she shows them and you give that up. Because I think that your business grows when you do give that up and you focus on sellers. And perfect point with Dean, he couldn't get the concept, my son, of giving up buyers because $2 million buyers came in, 1 million. You see those numbers. But the minute he started focusing just on listings, that's when his business went to the next level. So I think that's what Cheryl really means. Like, not that she's going to stop like cold turkey, but
Okay.
that she's going to focus more on the other.
That-
Yeah.
Right. With helping my buyer's agent, I was on the phone with her last night, like at 9:30 at night, because she was writing an offer and I'm there, I'm listening, I'm guiding, but she's running. So that's kind of what I mean right now. It's, I won't miss the running, but I think it's also a market where a lot of people won't miss the running.
Correct.
So I will
First
speak
make
to what
that
Orly had said. I gave up some of my buyer leads. I committed to all of them too early. And I had a very uncomfortable conversation with one of my very dear friends of the family, sphere of influence, that bought and sold about 2.5 million with me over a few years. And we still had more to do. And now we have young kids that are buying and selling and having babies. And we sat in the car, we went to something for like a church thing or whatever. And I said, oh, you're comfortable giving me business, right? We're going to take the listing, you're going to sell the other house now. And she said, actually, no, I didn't want to tell you this. Yeah, she said, I didn't want to tell you this, but I got to be honest. So-and-so, the buyer's agent that I had given her to, didn't really treat them the way that I had treated them. And really over time, because I kind of let him run with them thinking, oh, they're fine. I was just checking in with him. He's saying they're good to go. Oh, we showed them this many houses. Oh, I took this one out. I stopped over the house. I just didn't check in with them, just trusting that he was good to go. I let it go on too long. And the father had gotten involved, and the father goes, I want to use so-and-so who we used years and years ago. And I really respected that person as well. And she got the next piece of business. And guess who sells the whole family now? Her. So there is a little bit of too soon. Not to say, Cheryl, should they be running around? Yeah, great. But the relationship and the referral line, don't lose that.
That is such a crucial point, Mary Beth, because I had this opportunity this weekend where I was meeting with a buyer that called me. They saw a house, they needed to see it, and then they wanted to list. So of course I gave them to my buyer's agent. I met with them for the listing appointment, but discussed the buying process and really gave them the scripts of go for it. If this is what gives you joy. He was hesitant at going over the asking price, and I convinced him to go 50,000 over the asking price. But the point is, when the buyer's agent started with me, I used to call the client, to your point, Mary Beth, and just hear from them how the experience was. How was it working with so-and-so? And I would hear different things than what they were telling me. It was like two different experiences. So I had a little bit of that yesterday when a buyer called me twice after I handed them off to one of my buyer's agent. And I said to my buyer's agent, why are they calling me? Where is the disconnect that they don't understand that you are their buyer specialist? Why are they coming back to me? Something is wrong here. Either you didn't do a buyer consultation or you're not connecting with them. Please reach out and see where the disconnect is, because if they're coming back to me, you were rushed to show another house. Did you rush through it? So I had to really, call them on the rug and say something's wrong here if they're calling me.
It's such a great point.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you're hearing it now, Cheryl.
It's not set it and forget it. She's not at the point where set it and forget it.
No, absolutely.
I think with our sphere of influence, especially, we just need to check in always. It's just, that's our database. Like, we should always be checking in with them with these other leads that come off of, the leads that come off the houses and whatnot. Maybe you get to that point, but nothing like knowing the pulse of how is the customer's experience working with Orally? How is the customer's great? Just checking in. You know what? It's my business. I'm the CEO. How do we feel when the restaurant owner comes out to the table to say, how's everything going? I just wanted to come over, shake your hand. You guys having a good experience here? Danny in Red Bank, he always comes out. He's like this old little guy, comes out, shakes the hand, walks around the bar, has a drink with you. You go back because Danny came out. So I do want to have a little bit of, a little bit of that has to be in the business.
Thank you for that reminder, because I don't do that enough. And even with my senior
Absolutely.
buyer specialist, who's with me almost 20 years, I have had instances where there was not a good chemistry. Thank God buyers came to me and said, we're not having a good experience because there is just not good chemistry. And I had to reassign that person. And I thanked that client. I said, thank you so much for feeling comfortable enough to come to me and tell me this. So thank you for that reminder today.
Awesome. So let's just wrap this up a little bit. On 275, it says the 3 key hires. The 3 key hires are lead listing specialist, marketing administrative manager, and a lead buyer specialist. The 3 legs of your business: admin, listings, buyers. Do not think, because it says he who also moves up to the 7th level to become a business manager. They may not. They also may be the girl who still just does the flyers 10 years from now, because that's what they do and that's who they are. So don't just think the first admin that you hire is the person that grows with you. At times, somebody else, you grow. So what you need 2 years from now may be different than what you needed in your first assistant. Please consult with us when you are hiring like that. The next thing is 5-year commitment. I know that as great leaders, we would hope that these people would stay with us forever. And sometimes they're meant for other leadership opportunities, or maybe they do break off and go do something, or maybe they move. But if you're going to put your time and energy into somebody, it says a 5-year commitment. I say to somebody that we hire into an organization, where are you in 5 years? What are your big goals? If the girl tells you, oh, well, I hope to have my restaurant open by then. Well, do tell. What are you doing? So is this person going to stay with you, or are they just taking the job? Like, oh no, I'm moving out to Arizona next year. Oh, okay. This is not what I'm looking for, a 3 to 5 year commitment, because you're not even going to know the job for the first year. It's going to take you a little bit to really get cranking. By 18 months, you figured out the job. Now we're looking at where are you growing in our organization, but it's going to take a little time for somebody to learn, how to leverage you. Weekly meetings is necessary. So many rainmakers do not have weekly meetings. If it's with yourself,
I was just going to say that to Cheryl, actually. Ask her if she was having that. Yeah.
I am.
Sorry. Okay,
Weekly meetings every Monday.
good.
Mhm.
Sorry,
don't
Barry.
lighten up on those. Don't lighten up on those, even if it's like, well, nothing really happened this week. Do a quick check-in, 15 minutes. All right, you know what? It was a holiday week. All right. What are our goals? What did we see this weekend? Who are we working on? And let's just press on, right? Don't miss that meeting. I'm working with a team right now that really has to bring back those meetings. And then hiring, I just said hiring, that is your responsibility as a mega agent, is to attract talent. And so, we are here to help you. There are systems, KPA, DISC. Orly, did you ever get the DISC from me?
No.
Okay. I do have a DISC link that you all could use whatever you want. I will share it out.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought the subscription. It's like, endless DISC. Go for it.
Excellent. Thank
Just
you.
tell me their name when you send it out there, because the report goes to them and me.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next thing is for the roles and responsibilities. I just want to hit home on this, that as a leader, your responsibility is on page 280. Mission, vision, values, beliefs, perspectives. If you think you just arrive and like, well, I do all this business that I have the right to bring in an assistant and a buyer's agent, so I'm good. That buyer's agent will leave you so fast if they don't see that you are working towards a bigger goal. What is the vision for this?
And I
Yeah.
just want to interject. I mean, this is something you may want to do at an office meeting. This is from the one thing, the core values. And I have them like right in front of me, you know, whether it's gratitude, abundance, whatever it is, but figure out what your core values are and then do this with your team to make sure that you're all aligned with your core values. But you can start doing it just for yourself. So,
And you know what?
So-
What you can I just say one thing that's really good to do as an exercise with your team is to put all those core values, what's, you know, the best core value for each team member. And then you create a, what do you call that, Orly? You create a statement for
mission
Statement.
statement, vision statement.
a vision statement, what, you know, that you hang up that actually it describes what your team is about.
That is
Isn't it-
awesome. So you're creating your own mission statement,
Mission
incorporating
statement. Thank you.
everybody's mission, everybody's
Mission
vision.
statement. Thank you. Yes. Mission
Yeah.
statement.
Actually, this is what I have for my team. Our rules of engagement. That's one of my team members just made me on Canvas for the new office.
Can you read that to us?
Absolutely. Rules of the game. Put people before profit. Keep learning. Embrace optimism. Focus on solutions. Raise the bar. Stay curious. Celebrate each other's success. Trust and support your team. Choose to see opportunity. Aim for excellence. Build your business by adding value. And above all, be kind.
Now, where do we get that?
That's an awesome list.
I put it together with from other agents, and I just did my own. So I took what resonated with us, and now it's on Canvas. And one of my admins did this for me as a gift for the new office. So, you know,
Aw.
we read this
That's
every
how it
Monday
goes.
morning. We read this every Monday at our meeting, just like you
Right.
guys. I learned that from the
Bravo.
KW system. So from your, you know, Zoom calls. So
But you said something also important. It's going to be visually there in the environment so that people are reminded, hey, that's the vision, right? That's what we're doing here. Somebody gets a little nasty, you go, hey, be kind, right? It's right there.
And I wanted the buyers and agents to celebrate each other's success also, not be competitive with each other. It's a very
Right.
fine line. So
And the other thing is,
I have a big tall poppy on my wall in my office. And I'm like, we are tall poppies. I got that from Paula, but we are tall poppies. This is what we are. We are not at this level. We are at this level. And I will point at that sometimes. And I'm like, ladies, here we are.
that's right. Oh, goodness. And then the other thing is what you said is asking everybody for theirs and like kind of collaborating to make that mission statement. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be included. So when they know that that one word came from them, they feel that attachment. And then there's this loyalty built and there's teamwork, right? So all these little things matter. Just because we're successful and we could go take listings and we bring people in and they'll come work for us and we have a paycheck for them, doesn't mean it's going to be sticky unless you're really creating an environment for people to thrive in. And people accountability.
it's creating culture is what you're doing.
That's right. And 281 gives you a little bit of an example on the MVVP, which is the mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspective. I do think all leaders should do exactly what Orly is doing, putting it on the wall. Capital account on 283, you're also financially responsible. Okay. As a mega agent, you can't just go, Cheryl, you can't just say, you know what, this week I'm going to cut the admin back a few hours because we didn't have a lot of deals closed last week.
Right. Not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. But how many times have I seen somebody go, oh, I only bring in part-time help until, you know, if they're not doing deals, I'm not paying for an admin. Well, listen, you don't have a business then. So when you commit to growing a business and bringing people in, you are responsible. And we do advise you, separate the ins from the outs. Separate the income from the team from your personal income. Separate your personal income from all of it and really you're running a business. If you had a store, would you have the store inventory on your personal credit card and no, you wouldn't. So it's the same thing.
And that goes to one of the core values that I cherish, which is stability. when that's your core value
right.
and you know, have stability there, your team feels stable and secure.
Right. All right. So at the end of the chapter 285, just summing it up, it says active versus passive income. We spoke about that. Opportunities of the 7th level, spoke about that. Once again, that is something that you could talk to anybody who has a business. It's not just real estate. You could take a painting business to the 7th level. 3 key hires, knowing that we have listings, buyers, and admin are our 3 core hires. And your role and responsibility as an agent is leadership, people, and capital. So as we come to next week, next Wednesday is our last week, which is the 14th week.
Not
Can't believe we've got the whole book.
so when do we start again?
I think Patty wants to start again. I said, okay, all right, give me a break. I just need a break.
I can't blame you.
But guys, we went through the whole book almost. These are foundational models that we could talk about over and over again in any market. And I am just so proud of the ladies that have been on all of the calls, and as many as you could. You've been a core group for this, because you're going to implement this. You're going to talk differently. Your business is going to look different from just diving into this book, having these conversations. So I'm proud of you. The next section we're going to talk about is putting it all together with focus. It's staying on top, and that will be next week. So ladies, have anything else to add?
No, I really appreciate this because it reminds me, validates me, and I've learned so much. So I appreciate every one of you.
Thank you. Back at it, seriously.
A whole new energy in Arlene today.
I love Arlene. Arlene, what did you just say?
I said I really appreciate all of you, and I'm so glad I finally got on this, was able to get on.
So what's the one thing you're going to implement from today, Arlene?
Actually starting up my own systems manual and really putting that together.
Wonderful. Congratulations. If you need help, let us know.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got to run.
Anybody else
Bye,
want?
everybody.
All right, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday for our last session.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.